Welcome to Deer Feed. I'm Renee.
And I'm Jess.
And we're the Deerfoot Sisters. This week we're talking about supernatural stuff. Ooh. Yeah, ghosts, magic, TV shows about such things,
Yep.
books.
All right, so do you believe in ghosts?
Do you believe in ghosts? Ooh. I think so, yeah.
You think? You don't know what you believe?
I mean, I'm open to the idea of supernatural beings. I don't know that I necessarily am leaning one way or the other.
Okay.
I feel like, I've watched a lot of shows about, like, hauntings and stuff, and they seem some of them are pretty scary seeming and real.
Well, they're definitely scary. It's just more like, it's just something you could believe. Is it believable?
Right. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you believe in all forms of magic or just, like, supernatural spirit type things?
So that's so interesting, right? Because, like, I definitely believe in supernatural stuff because I believe in ghosts. And it kind of goes back to, I guess, what you were talking about, like, conservation of energy and stuff and
Yeah.
whatever. But I believe in ghosts, but I also believe in werewolves. But it's like I don't believe in every supernatural creature.
Like, do you believe in unicorns?
No. Like, I don't believe in unicorns.
What about, like, vampires?
I don't believe in vampires, which is kind of, like, weird. Like, why wouldn't I believe in those? Like, why do I believe in werewolves? But then again, like, I don't know if I really believe in werewolves. I just feel like they're possible, and I'm extremely terrified of them. So I don't know if I actually, like, honestly believe...
How about, like, abominable snowmen?
How about Bigfoot? Well, they're the same, right? Are they, like, cousins?
Yeah. Regional Sasquatch or whatever.
There's variations on Sasquatch. I think I feel like, again, like, it's possible. Like, I think for me, most of the stuff is, like, it's possible.
Loch Ness Monster?
Maybe. Probably not, though, because
Aliens?
I don't think aliens are supernatural. I think those are just natural.
I know, but do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll talk about those at a later date, I guess.
People who don't believe in aliens, I think, are just idiots.
Well, we'll talk about that at a later date.
They're obviously not intelligent life.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
sorry, we had a slight technical difficulty. Back to Renee not knowing what she believes in.
Yeah, so I think
You don't know.
do believe in ghosties. And, like, when it comes to magic... Yeah. When it comes to magic, like, I don't... Do you think there's, like, witches who can cast spells?
See, I don't know if I really believe that. I mean, I guess I feel like it is possible, but I don't really know if I believe it. So I don't know if I really believe in, like, magic.
Like, I feel like also, though, a lot of times that magic stuff, like, borders on science fiction. Like, mutants from X-Men. Like, some of them could be, like, magical, sort of.
Yeah,
but they're just considered, like, science fiction.
Would you call that magic? Well, yeah, that's true. Like, some stuff it's like... Well, that's why I'm talking about, like, like you said, aliens. But I'm like, well, I would argue that that's just nature that we don't know yet. Which I guess then you could say... I guess things, like, that are supernatural, it's more something that, like, wouldn't happen in the realm of, like... But also, it's like, is it just not in the realm of known science?
Yeah, so it's just, like, outside our laws of physics.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
yeah, and I remember, like, I knew this guy, and he would always tell me how he didn't believe in, like, heaven and all this stuff, but he, like, believed in ghosts. And I was
he said he didn't believe in, like, an afterlife.
Yeah, he didn't believe in any kind of afterlife. And I'm like, so you don't believe in an afterlife, but you believe in ghosts? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so then don't you, like, have to believe in an afterlife? And he's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And I'm like, so what, you thought, like, some people just became ghosts, and then after that, nothing happened to them? Like,
yeah.
Why would they become ghosts in the first place? What about, like, demons? Do you believe in, like, Satan and demons?
I mean, I absolutely believe in Satan.
Okay, but you just think he's, like, more like a person, less like
a fallen archangel,
like a beast? Yeah. You don't think he's actually, like, a hooved beast or something?
I don't know. I don't really know what I believe, because I don't really... I guess I'm just like you.
You just
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just don't really think about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in ghosts, and I feel like ghosts are a more common occurrence. It's, like, not trailing it now, so we're not going to be able to, like, see it. But as long as this is going, I think it means it's fun.
Okay. Technical talk.
Sorry. We're talking about watching ourselves record. But yeah, I don't know. And, like, I'm not necessarily a person who is I don't necessarily have to see to believe.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yes, obviously. But have you had any supernatural experiences? Tell us.
I don't think I've really had any supernatural experiences, except I do believe that I'm a psychic.
Okay.
So
well, yeah, that's
there's
true.
that. And like,
well, give us some examples of how you've had these like, what is that?
Psychic thoughts.
Yeah.
Premonitions.
Yeah, you've had like premonition.
So
dreams,
a lot of times, like in
usually.
dreams, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time that I really recall it happening was I had a dream that Jessica like really nonchalantly just drove her car into a lake, and we were just like sitting in the car. And
most people don't do that, but we do know someone who did.
She was like laughing, and she just like we were just like listening to the radio, and she just like drove right into a lake, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then like a couple of days later, it was raining pretty hard. Like, and
it was like torrential downpour,
yeah,
so it was like
really
flash
hard
flood
rain,
style
like,
rains.
basically flash floods. And we were on the street, and the water got really high, and it flooded her car, so her engine completely stalled because it was flooded. And you know, if we opened the door to her car was low. It was like a Ford. Was it Ford?
It was
a probe,
was that a Ford
whatever
probe?
that is.
I don't know. It was a probe.
It was
I don't
a
know if
probe
it was
of
Ford.
some
Yeah.
type of alien technology. So when you open the doors, like the water was right, like about to spill in, basically.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, okay, that's so weird. I dreamt you drove into a lake, and then just like a couple days later, you just drove into what was basically a lake on the road, and like the whole car just totally died, and like this truck like drove behind us and just like pushed us out with like just crashing into us. And then like a couple.
Okay, sorry. They were like, "I'll help you by pushing your car."
Yes,
and
they
then
did it on
put
purpose.
it in neutral and they,
And
pushed
he
it.
shoved
Not
us
like
out.
they crashed into us and our car went flying. No.
Yeah, that would be a little more dramatic. Be like, why did you dream about the lake part and not the car crash part?
Yeah, no.
And then
That
another
was
time,
weird,
I had a dream that like.
And I think you told me about it like as we were driving, and then like a minute later we were like. And we were like,
I don't know if it was exactly in that time frame, but it was
I feel
definitely
like that's
around.
how it happened because I was like, oh my god! I remember being like, what?
Yeah, like you were so
Get away
distracted
from me,
by
you're
my
a witch.
story that you drove into a lake. And then the other time was like this person that we knew from the place where we worked. He had gotten married and he was on his honeymoon, and I had a dream that I saw him. And I was like, oh, you're not wearing your wedding ring. And he was like, oh, well, I like wear it on a chain to like keep it close to my heart. And then I saw him a couple days later when he had gotten back from his honeymoon. So I had not seen him prior. It's not like I could have seen him and known this was true. And then, of course, he had the ring on a chain around his neck. And he told me that same thing. Oh, so it can be close to my heart. And I'm like, that's weird.
Okay, but
And I feel like maybe I had an especially strong psychic connection with that person because I could literally smell him.
okay, at first I was like, who the heck are you talking about? But when you said that, I know because
and I literally
like that
could,
guy now.
right? Like, it was not even a joke. Like, he could have been in and this is a
What is he
gym.
doing
This
right
is a
now?
fitness center. So it's
can
not like
smell a lot
there's
of
a lot of
people.
smells, and it's a big place. And it wasn't cologne. He didn't wear like a special cologne. It was like I could literally just smell his pheromones. So I would literally be like, oh, I think he was just here. And I could like sniff him out like a bloodhound. It was the weirdest thing. But it happened, right, Jess?
Yeah,
Like-
okay, but let me say, this is something I have to ask you because I don't remember this chain thing. Did you tell someone about your dream before you saw him and he told you that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I told you probably, but we went to the
I don't
work
remember.
that same day.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Yeah, I
because
didn't
the
like tell
problem
anyone
is
else at work.
with deja vu.
Right.
And scientists don't really know what deja vu is, and I haven't read up on it recently, but I think like 6 years ago, I read an article that was saying they think it might be like a neuron that like 3/4 of the way fired and then refires. So it's like you actually did experience it, but it was just like
Oh no, that was definitely a
infinitesimal-
dream. It wasn't deja vu I had with him.
But you don't actually know because it's all
I
in your
know.
own mind.
Okay, well,
so
yes,
unless you
memory is
actually
tricky.
either have a dream
But
journal
I
and
did
you wrote
tell
it down,
you
have
about it,
proof.
and then we did talk
Okay,
about
so
it
you actually
after.
told me about it.
I told you because then
Okay.
after I told you, like, oh my god, I just saw him. We like talked about
I
how
don't
it was
remember.
weird,
I
but I
didn't
didn't
remember.
like tell people at work who would have like told him what to say. And
No,
also,
of
like-
course, yeah. I didn't remember if you had told me. 'Cause
No, I
it's-
did, yeah.
But like, yeah, because if you don't tell a different person, then I'm like, your mind could be tricking you.
Right, that's
you
because
could
like
be
I
did
used
that.
to be very convinced when I was little that I knew how to fly, because to this day, it seems more like a memory than a dream. When I was about, I want to say like 8 or 9 years old, I took a nap. Remember how after school I used to go into mom's room and she had that old TV with the dials, and I would watch PBS. Mm-hmm. So I was like watching that in her room, and then I fell asleep on her bed, and I remember flying around her room, Like, it was sort of like in those old shows where they tie something to the ceiling fan. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of just like flying in circles, but I only was hovering about, like, I would say 2.5 feet off the ground. Okay. Or, like, right above where her bed was. So I was just, like, flying in circles, like, around with the ceiling fan. And for a long time, I was like, that really felt like that actually happened. It didn't ever feel like a dream. But then I'm like, obviously it didn't happen. And maybe then I have a lot of dreams.
Maybe you've been lying to yourself. You're not unlocking your true flying power.
I have a lot of dreams where I can't quite... Well, I can fly in a lot of my dreams, but a lot of my dreams I can, like moon bounce. Like, I take a step and I jump, like, 10 feet forward, and it's, like, a big leaping bound. So, like, for a long time, I really thought I was, like, capable of doing that, too. But then I'm like, no, wait, it only happens when I'm dreaming.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. One day I'll have to practice when there's no one around to watch me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so, like, I do believe sort of in, like, psychics, and I don't know if it's necessarily, like, a gift or, like, that you can commune directly with spirits. Like, maybe some people can, but I do think I have, like, psychic-like abilities.
What do they call those people, like, empaths?
Yeah, so, like... You saw, like, on our friend's Instagram recently, she put a thing, like, an empath, and it, like, said different, like, criteria, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's, like, definitely me. So I think I'm definitely an empath at the very least, and that might be why I have, like, psychic tendencies. It might just be that I'm, like, really good at picking up on people.
Yeah.
I think it's that why I also really have, like, a BS radar. I can tell pretty immediately. Like, even sometimes I meet people, and I have no reason to dislike them, and I just immediately feel that, like, grimy vibe, like, this person just rubs me the wrong way. And then, like, I'll consequently later find out something about them that, like, would make me not like them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's, like, body chemistry or body language or what. But it will be, like, someone I've never met before, have no prior knowledge of. And I'm just like, ooh, I don't like this person. And then it always proves to be justified.
I was just thinking about this. You said that some people rub you the wrong way. And I'm thinking, like, it made me think of Indian burns.
I don't think that's really PC, Jess.
I know. Then I was thinking, like, okay... It's really not PC because you'd probably call it like Native American or American Indian burn.
Or not even anything because it's like turning your skin red.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like, why is it even called that? Okay, so it's basically like you turn your skin red and then you're saying like, oh, you're a red man now. That's super racist. Okay. I was wondering about
and
that.
Why did that make you think of
Because I was like rubbing, because it's like you're rubbing someone and it's really painful and... If someone was doing that to you, they'd be rubbing you the wrong
I don't think
way.
like Native Americans like fought and they scalped people and like gave them burns like that on their arms. So dumb.
Okay, so I get it now. So that's why it's probably not.
That was pretty ignorant, but now you know. So
now we could probably call it something else, like grinding someone's gears or something.
Ew, that's really creepy. We'll just call it like squeezy arm twisty rub.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like pretty. Remember like that person that we saw someone's Facebook post and he was like, "Don't make me give you a headlock knuckle rub," and I was like, "Do you mean a noogie? Like what?" That was like the most descriptive way to say noogie. Like, that was pretty funny. Oh man. All right. Anyway, moving on.
I'm sorry.
Do you have any supernatural?
Hilarious.
You have any supernatural experiences?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I mean,
I feel like I don't remember, but okay, I'm curious to hear.
Okay, so I went to Savannah.
Oh, right, these ones we did hear about.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been to Savannah twice.
With the Girl Scouts?
Yeah. This Savannah is like where the founder of U.S. Girl Scouts was born and raised and lived actually most of her life.
She had a 19-inch waist.
Yeah.
Or what was it, 19 inches?
I think it was maybe. I thought it was like a 12-inch waist. It
That
was a
seems
very
really
small
small.
waist because she wore corsets. So, yeah, when Renee and I went was when Renee was in, I think, middle school. I was in high school. And we went to a thing where, I guess it was like at her birthplace, they did a thing where you like wore corsets and then they actually showed you like how big her waist was and they talked about how it was like damaging to girls.
Yeah, they showed like how your organs move
deform
around.
their body in that way. Yeah. But I mean, it was whatever. She was born in like 1902 or something, I think, or maybe even earlier. I don't remember. Maybe that's when Girl Scouts started.
Probably earlier because Girl Scouts has been around for like, hasn't Girl Scouts been around for like 125 years?
So maybe she was born in the 1880s.
Yeah, sometime. Whatever.
Oh,
yeah,
no, she must have been, because I
know.
think she was born, I think she was around during the Civil War.
And on a side note, she was born on Halloween. Okay, so anyway.
So yeah, so we went down, and Savannah is called the most haunted city in the U.S. Okay. So they say We have one ghost for every square foot or something like that. Like, they have a lot of ghosts. Because, it's a southern city, so there's a lot of, like, hangings and a lot of...
slave
killings, like, different kind of things that would result in, like, maybe a ghost being left. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we went to this one super creepy, like, haunted house that's called the Sorrel Weed House. And...
Weed House.
Weird. No, it's Sorrel-Weed House.
Still weird. So weed was someone's name or something?
Yeah, it was like, I guess it was the Sorrel Weed family.
Okay.
Anyway. So you tour the house, and they tell you a few stories about the family and stuff, and then you go into the basement, and it's, like, creepy. Mm-hmm. There's, like, different ghosts that they have that, like, are resident ghosts. And at one point, I was like, oh, my hair. I was like, oh, something touched my arm. I was like, oh, it was just my hair. Mm-hmm. And then
you're like, I'm bald. Just kidding. Okay, so it was your hair.
And then later, the tour guide was talking about how when you feel a ghost, it oftentimes doesn't feel like a person touching you. It feels just like a wisp. Like, he's like, like you have a piece of hair on your body that you can't get off. And then he kind of looked at me like, maybe it was a ghost. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it was my hair, but who knows?
It's possible.
He said, or like a feather or something. Like, it feels really light.
It tickles you.
Yeah. So then I actually felt a ghost touch my leg. Mm-hmm. And then the next day I had like a bug bite there. So I was like, well, was it a bug or was it a ghost? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Could have been a ghost that, like, attracted a bug.
And also the first time we went to Savannah, we saw that, like, creepy house. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
We went on, like, a haunted tour, like a ghost tour, and we didn't go inside, but there was this one building, and they're like, okay, go up and, like, look inside and see if you see anything. And, like, we walk up and look in, and then we come back, and they're like, did you guys see the staircase? And we're like, oh, yeah, it's, like, right in the middle. And they're like, this, like, building burned down, like, whatever, many years ago. And the staircase used to be in the center, but when they rebuilt it, like, it's off to the side now. And they're like, go look again. And it was, like, off to the side.
No, they said to come back during the day, and we went back the next day.
We went back during the day.
They were like, if you come during the day, it will look different. And so that was, like...
And it was creepy. And then, like, these girls were up there, and they were, like, taking pictures, remember? Taking a video. And, like, then they all start screaming, and they, like, run back, and we're like, what? And then we, like, watched the video, and, like, the part where they just are about to start screaming, it, like, cut out and got all, like, digitally weird.
Yeah.
Which was strange. Which was bizarre. And you're like, okay. And I've heard other stories of that, like, people in New Orleans being, like, at Marie Laveau's house, and they, like, take a picture, and their phone, like, flies out of their hand or something, and, like... And then it breaks, or, like, the picture's, like, all distorted. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty creepy.
That's creepy.
So that's possible, but...
Interesting.
And then sometimes ghosts are benevolent, though.
Yes. So, later on this trip to Savannah, Momily was walking, and she's sometimes kind of clumsy. And we weren't on the cobblestone streets or anything, so don't be too forgiving. She basically just tripped on the sidewalk. Really loud. It was, because I'm listening in as we record. And
okay, I had some frappuccino.
You guys probably won't notice, but Renee did just take a gulp of her frap. But anyway, so Momily, like, very slowly, like, fell to the ground and, like, gently landed on the ground.
Right.
And it was...
And so, you know, when you fall down, sometimes it, like, feels like it's going in slow motion, and they say that's because, like, your heart is beating faster and your adrenaline's going, so, like, time slows down. But that doesn't usually happen for the people around you. Right. So you're saying watching her, she, like, was falling in slow motion?
Yeah. Not, like, super slow motion, but it was, like, it was more, like, she was definitely going slower than you would expect for someone who, like, tripped to just be, like, falling.
And I've seen her fall. I mean, she falls fast.
But it was also the fact that she, like, fell so gently.
Right.
Because she's not, like, she's a large enough person that she would have more force, you would think, that she wouldn't fall so gently.
And it's not like she has core strength, that if she starts, like, falling, she could, like, be one of those, like, hover above the ground like a Matrix dancers. Yeah.
So anyway, so we were like, oh my gosh, I think, like, a ghost, like, caught you and, like, gently landed you down to the ground. Mm-hmm. So,
it's kind.
We don't know, because there was no ghost that was like, ding, ding, you're right.
Did you feel your hair tickle you or anything after?
No.
That's pretty cool, though, yeah. So that's okay.
It's pretty interesting.
But yeah, so you never had, like, haunting real stories, though.
Not, like, anything scary, no. Just, like, stuff
our friend has a ghost in her house. So, there's that.
I've never experienced it, though.
I've just heard her stories. But I've heard it corroborated by many of the other friends in the crew.
So then, like, we went to Charleston a few summers ago, and we did a ghost tour, which was fun. And they told us about this hotel that's called, like, the Carriage House or something. Mm-hmm. And they said that they have ghosts there that... and like they'll like tell you which room. They're like, if you want to, the one is called like the gentleman.
The gentleman ghost.
Like,
yeah, the gentleman caller or something.
I think he's just called the gentleman actually.
Because he's a nice ghost.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. But anyway,
whatever.
He's basically like a lover boy who's like super suave, and when you experience him, he like just lays in bed next to you and like wants to cuddle, and you like it.
And the women,
you're like, ooh,
yeah, they're like, I don't feel scared.
Like,
they're like,
I feel comfortable. I feel like
ghost.
I wish he were a real person or whatever. But then there's one that I don't know what it's called, but it's like creepy because it's like a headless like body. Jacket, and then the jacket like growls at you, and it's like really creepy,
right?
And very menacing.
It feels malevolent,
very
and
scary. So I was like, I definitely want to stay at that hotel.
Yeah, I know. I always wonder too. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, should we, like even for this episode, I was like, oh, should we like get a Ouija board or like get like a spell book and like try to do a spell? But then I'm like, no, because like what if something evil comes?
Yeah, right.
Like
definitely not here.
Yeah.
So this house, I'm pretty sure is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Someone actually killed themselves here.
Right.
And before, like, our grandparents bought the house, we're at our grandma's house. So, there's one room we called the beer can room because it's decorated with hundreds of beer cans. Because
I would say thousands,
our uncle collects beer cans. So, like, every single wall, there's, like, just shelves of beer cans. And then there's, like, stacks of beer cans.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
When we lived here at one point when I was, like, in 8th grade.
I think we talked about this in Fear, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did. So basically we talked about how we think that room is haunted and it was creepy to like sleep in there. We didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So
then we found out someone died there.
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
Yeah, we found out someone died there after we like were like, that room's so creepy.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, someone did die in that room. We're like, ah!
And I remember like I have like a Facebook post that I saw in my memories like a while ago, and it's like every time a kid tells me about their imaginary friend, I just assume they're talking to dead people.
Yeah, right.
Like
I wanted to tell you something about the smelling thing, but remind me after so I can like stay on point with this.
Okay.
So, some people say that like dogs have like a sensitivity to like supernatural things or to ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few weeks ago, Sarah, the dog, was over by that room and like sniffing it and stuff and trying to get in, and the door is shut, and I don't even go in there because I have no need to, but we just keep like basically those doors shut of bedrooms that she doesn't need to go into because she'll just like get into stuff. So I was like, oh, then I was thinking about it and I said, oh my gosh, what if our uncle came over to like do something with his beer cans, or he collects them, like moves them around sometimes. I was like, what if he like died in there and he's just been rotting in there and I have no idea because like he lives alone and like nobody knew or whatever. And of course, yes,
he didn't.
Renee's reaction was exactly, I was like, oh, well, he was texting. I'm like, no one's like, unless they murdered him, is gonna be like texting from his phone, you know.
Like, why would they like murder him here?
Who knows? Anyway, so we just
here.
saw him today. He's fine. He's alive. He's healthy.
Alive as of an hour ago.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so then I was like, okay, that's not him. But now, like, Sarah is like always, oh, I excited her. She's always like sleeping there and like leaning against that door. And I was like, I am not opening that door.
There's probably just like mice in there or something.
There is a malevolent being in there.
There's a malevolent bean?
Being!
Black bean, kidney bean, lima bean. Yeah. I don't think there's a bean in there at all.
There's a being. There's some kind of spirit that's like bad. I was like, I'm not opening that door because I don't know what's going to come out.
And also, yeah, if the dog wants to get there, there's probably a bad reason. Because it's probably mice or something. I would think.
Who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. That's creepy.
So, back on the
smell train.
Smell thing.
On the smell-elevator. Going up.
Well, when we were visiting our brother in college, there was an elevator that smelled bad, so Renee said it would be called the smell-elevator.
And then she was like, oh, what a terrible pun. I'm like, terrible because you didn't think of it?
Yeah. Okay, I now have another side note I wanted to do, but we'll talk about that after.
Maybe we could just do an episode on smells.
No, it's about Joe.
Oh,
it's not about smells. Anyway, so, one of my coworkers was telling me about a camper that she knew, and I might have actually already said this about creepy things kids say, but basically they were doing a camping, it was like a sleepaway camp, and they were doing like a unit where they basically have like more primitive camping, so they stay at like the furthest away site in the camp,
mm-hmm.
and they stay there and they cook all their own food because they like go for like 3 or 4 nights,
right?
So they're not really in contact with the rest of the group. And there was this one girl who was like kind of weird. And I guess the way that they see it in, like, a cabin, I think, but the way it was, or, like, maybe the tent they were staying in, but the way it was, like, the counselors were in their room, but it was, like, within earshot of where all the kids were. And the girls were, like, brushing their teeth or something in the morning, and the one girl says to the other one, "You smell different when you're awake."
Yeah, I don't remember.
I was like, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
It was just, like, a creepy thing kids say, but it was, like, Renee just, "Oh, he's been here." You're like a detective.
It was literally so
you're
weird.
Like a bloodhound.
And it's like, I mean, that would be so cool if I could track, like, everyone like that. That it was just that one person. So
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I don't have much need to track that guy around. So very bizarre.
That's really funny.
But maybe maybe some people just have, like, really enhanced senses, and they can, like, that's why they pick up on stuff. They just, like, smell it, because that's why they see, like, cats and stuff, and, like, they know, they, like, comfort terminal patients because they can, like, smell, like,
terminal patients, really terminal.
I feel like I didn't even say that weird, but
well,
okay.
I don't think I said bean, but whatever.
I feel like say being.
Being.
You're just saying bean.
How I say
it's 2 syllables. So, being.
Bing.
Bing. Oh my god. Anyway, this is getting off the rails. So, yeah, they say cats can smell, like, whatever death pheromone you put out, and that's why they, like, will go and comfort people who are, like, dying. So maybe it's, like, something like that. Like, you can just see a little extra, hear a little extra, smell a little extra.
Maybe it's, like, in Touched by the Angel. There's, like, that death angel, and the cats can smell him.
Probably.
That was a great show.
Angel. Yeah. Sure.
You don't really remember it because you were so young. I liked it, though.
Before my time. I guess I can Netflix it or something.
Because it was like whenever that death guy would show up, you're like, no!
You're like,
I don't want him to die! You're like, I want the other angels to help him.
Yeah. Like, what angel will it be today? Alright,
so there's another thing I wanted to say. We said you could stay at that Carriage House place, but you can actually also stay at the Sorrel Weed House.
You can also stay at the Eastern State Penitentiary, which is spooky.
The Sorrel Weed House has been on, like, Ghost Hunters or whatever, and so when you stay there, you'll do, like, an overnight thing, and they'll give you, like, paranormal investigative
Ooh, like a Geiger
stuff.
Counter.
Yeah, and so you can actually, like, do your own investigation.
That's creepy.
So, like, that's pretty
Would
cool.
you do it?
I think so.
Ugh, so creepy.
I mean, I might not sleep.
Yeah. I would definitely be, like, in a room with all my friends.
Well, actually, it's funny because when you get there, you check in and they were like, wait over here, and you're kind of waiting in, like, the courtyard area. And then all of a sudden, like, and our whole group was Girl Scouts. All of a sudden, like, 12 Girl Scouts just start screaming because I'm like, what? Basically, a mouse was scurrying up the wall behind us. And I was like, creepy. And they're like, there's a mouse on the wall. We're like, oh, because they just all started screaming. I'm like, what was it? Because
like
it was behind me, and I was like, what? We saw something cool and I missed it?
That's funny.
It was the mouse. Funny.
Alright, so then we were gonna... Sorry, I'm so sleepy.
So we were gonna talk about how, like, some people believe, some people don't, but some people are, like, really against believing in, like magic.
So
and,
I don't
like,
know if this
dark
is
magic
because of, like, being Catholic, but, like, this lady I used to work with, I, like, invited her to a Halloween party we had, and she's like, I love parties, and she's like, I just don't ever do anything Halloween. But I don't know if it was, like, because she's like a devout Catholic, so I'm like, but she didn't really say, like, oh, because of my religion. She was just like, oh, I just, like, I don't, like, I don't like to mess with Halloween type stuff. So she's like, so I never go to Halloween parties or, like, anything else. And I was like, oh, interesting. So I don't know if that's why, but I know, like, some, like,
probably
Catholics don't. Yeah, because I remember seeing a post that once that was like, Wizards of Waverly Place, Twitches too. Come on, Disney Channel, I thought you were wholesome content. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess, like, people really don't like to mess with magic.
Yeah, they really don't. So it's, like, just interesting because...
Like, do you think they use, like, model magic? Like, or they're like, no, this is occult stuff.
Don't use the M word.
Because it says magic. It's kind of hard to get away from magic.
Probably not. They probably allow that stuff. They
Right.
probably just don't.
Well, they definitely wouldn't allow Ouija boards.
Oh, no. But, I mean, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But then, like, we had babysitters growing up who were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they told us that, like, if we celebrated Halloween, we worshiped the devil, and, like, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then our mom was like, all right, you're not going to babysit anymore.
Yeah.
Telling my kids that they're devil worshippers. We were like, we don't. We just like to dress up.
And I mean,
we're adults, and I have a costume box.
That's true, she does. Every time we buy, like, get some weird, like, swag, I'm like, just put it in the costume box.
Yeah.
Like, why do we even have that? Like, what do you use the costumes for?
Okay, well, first of all, we used to use them because we used to make a lot of amazing films.
Yeah. Not in, like, a weird way.
Of course not. You've seen some of them, guys. Prehistoric Life.
Yeah.
We shared it.
It's a good one.
It's on our website. Check it out. Anyway,
But do you believe in portals?
Oh my god, I saw a portal too. Or whatever.
I had a dream about a portal too. I was like, okay, you're really a terrible actress.
Must eat. You're like, yeah, right, you're a robot. You don't eat.
You're a really bad actress.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I know.
It's terrible. All right, but anyway.
I forget where I was going with that.
Somewhere into your costume box.
Oh, yeah, and then, but now it's useful for, like, we have definitely a ton of Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Like, we went to...
Got the classic cat, pirate cat.
Cat lady.
Crazy cat lady, yeah. All kinds of stuff.
Lots of witches.
Wings.
Devil's horns. All different stuff. But, basically, we went to Frost Valley, which is a campground that we go to, a couple years ago, and it was a Halloween weekend. Mm-hmm. And so I bought, like, costumes for everybody. So everyone had something they could wear.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
So now that's mostly what it's used for. Or, like, it's useful for summer camp because we usually have, like, dress-up days.
Yeah, that's true.
Stuff like that. It's fun with kids.
Photo
and I'm
booth
like,
props.
why get rid of it? Like, if you have stuff, just, photo booth props.
Save it for Imagination Land.
Exactly.
Imagination.
So now we're going to talk about magic.
Magic is the sun.
That's later. Oh. We're not in the media. Magic in the media yet. We're just magic.
All right. So we're gonna
Gathering.
Yeah, we didn't even put Magic the Gathering on our list. We never played Magic the Gathering, but our brother did.
Yeah, like a little bit. He never really played it the way he played it, like, in middle school, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, he like got into it, but like, and he wasn't like in tournaments and stuff because he was like in middle school. They didn't have like Facebook.
I don't think he was very good. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I feel like if he wanted to be, he probably would have been good. But then he got more into video games. They had like a Magic Club, didn't they?
They probably did, and they probably had tournaments at that time. But it was like pre-internet, so you would have had to find some way to like figure it out, and he wouldn't have. And Mom probably would have been like, no.
So whatever. But some people really are still into that game a lot and play like a lot.
Yeah.
But so I played like once.
We're talking about, like, magicians.
Yeah, we're talking about street magic.
So, like, even if you go see a magic show, like a magician, or street magician, or just a regular magician, like, I don't know if I really believe that a lot of the magic is real. So explain, like, the trick that we saw last summer, or I
don't even know if I remember exactly what it was, but basically, okay, so yeah, like, a lot of times when you see magicians, you know it's just sleight of hand, and especially if it's, like, kids, like, they do, like, they're like, oh, they, like, you know, shove something in a box, and then, like, they pull it out, and it's different, and it's, like, obviously, there's just some kind of mechanism.
But, I mean, some people have really good sleight of hand, and they're, like, amazing, and it's super impressive, because it's
true.
hard.
Yes, and it's true, but a lot of times you can kind of see, like, oh, okay, this is probably how he did that.
Yeah.
But, like, with this, so we were in Asbury Park, and we saw this magician, like, on this boardwalk, and Jess is like, I don't like this guy, but that's just because he was like a little in your face.
Yeah.
And he was like flirting with you, kind of.
I don't know, he was weird.
Yeah, but whatever. But he did this trick that was like really impressive, and basically he took like a $5 bill and he like put it into this box, right?
I don't even remember.
It's like in a box, and then it was locked, and then someone else was holding the box, and then he like asked me to whisper a name to another person in the crowd. And I did. I whispered, like, my grandma's name, Marcella. And then they opened the box, and that was written on the dollar bill. And I was like, what? That's, like, really crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, unless he had, like a spy in there somewhere. Because he definitely, like...
But did the person write it on a dollar bill? Or you just whispered the name, and then that was...
No, I just whispered the name to them. So the whole trick was that, like, he somehow figured out the name and got it on the dollar.
Because you never even saw someone write it.
Right, yeah, you didn't see anybody writing anything on the dollar. Like, the dollar was blank in the box, and then you said the name, and then it got onto the dollar, which was in the box.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I was like, that's really weird. And I was like, yeah, if I could do magic, I would probably just, like, be a magician.
Yeah.
Because then, like, people would just think you're really good at sleight of hand, but you could just actually do magic.
What about those people that, like... Well, yeah, that's true. What about the people who do, like, the street magicians or whatever, and they do, like, the little levitations?
Or where they, like, cut people's bodies in half?
No, that's crazy.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I assume that's just not real. I've never seen them. Like, did you ever see that video of David Blaine? I think it was David Blaine, and he, like, there's, like, people, like, sitting on a park bench, and he's like, okay, this, and then he, like, moves their, like, legs away from their tops, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is just, like, a TV thing.
Well, first of all, I never trust it when I see it on TV, because I'm just like,
Yeah, of
okay,
course.
this is just, like, editing. Like, I don't really, but if I was in person, it's obviously different, so I don't know.
So, yeah, I've never seen, like, those in real life, so I don't know. But,
yeah, that's so crazy.
It was very disturbing looking. But, you know, like, when he did that trick where he, like, stayed underwater for, like, 15 minutes or something? You remember that? It was like, he was like in a big glass ball, like over Times Square.
Remember it.
And that was interesting because I was listening to him tell a story about when he trained for that. And he really did. He like trained to be able to hold his breath. He like trained with a free diver. So he could hold his breath for like 15 or 20 minutes. But he's like, in order to do it, like you have to be laying like extremely still. Because like obviously anytime you exert energy, like you need oxygen to replace it. So it's like you have to like not be moving like all this. And then they, like, were just going to do it, but then they, like, added that other stuff of, like, we'll do it in this glass sphere, and we'll do it, like, in this place. And they didn't take into account that, like, it got, like, really hot because it was, like, a glass in the city. Then the sun was just, like, beating in it. So he's, like, boiling in there, basically. And then, like, because he was hot and he couldn't, like, because he was supposed to be, like, laying down at, like, the bottom of a box, but then he was, like, in this ball, so he couldn't really, like, lay down. And so then he's, like, I really couldn't do it. And I was like, oh, that's pretty crazy. Because it seemed so fake and kind of stupid. Like, I don't really want to watch you, like, hold your breath in a glass ball in the middle of Manhattan.
But I argue that's not magic. That's just
yeah, no, that's not really magic.
Cool.
But that was just, like, an interesting...
You're impressive that you trained your body to do that. But it's not, like, magic.
But I guess he's, like, saying, like, oh, I can breathe underwater. Like, I can hold my breath for this long without dying. I don't need air. I don't know.
It'd be one thing if no one else could do it. But, like, people do that.
Yeah, okay, well, you're very hard to...
It's impressive, but it's not magical.
Yeah, I know, but it was just interesting. So, I don't know. That was an interesting story I have when I think of David Blaine. I always think of that.
Yeah.
But...
So, then there's, like, kids' magic shows.
Yeah. Which sometimes they're weird.
And then I like when kids' magic shows, this is kind of my favorite, and I think it's kind of a thing that a lot of kids magicians do, where they have, like, a super corny, obvious, like, trick. Or, like, the one time I saw a guy and he was like, I'm going to make this wine disappear. Then he, like, put his hand in front of his face and, like, drank the wine and you could, like, obviously see it. But they do something that's, like, really obvious and all the kids are like, it's this, it's that. And then he, like, wows you at the end with, like, here's the magic I'm actually doing. And everyone's like, how'd you do that part?
Yeah. Well, that's, like, classic misdirection, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny, though. Yeah, and I love, like, in kids' magic shows when they do, like, that simple trick with, like, the collapsible wand or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they, like, give it to the kid. They're like, okay, just hold it. And then they're like, oh, my God, you broke it again. Like, I always find that so funny. That's my low threshold for enjoyment. Like,
well, especially because of the way the kids, because the kids are reacting.
And they, like, look so ashamed when they, like, first break it. They're like, oh, my God, broke it. Yeah, that's funny. So we experienced kind of a pretty intense magic show once at the place where we used to work. We had planned to have this magician come in, and he came into the gym so that all the kids from camp could come and watch him. And at the end, he did this, like, cool trick where he, like, released...
So it was, like, a gymnasium.
Yeah, gymnasium. Yeah. So he, like, released these, like, live doves as part, like, pull a rabbit out of a hat, pull a dove out of a bag, whatever. And the doves, like, fly off, and one dove just flies directly into the wall of the gym and breaks its neck and falls down dead to the ground. And then we're looking at the kids, and they're like, what happened to that one? We're like, he's just taking a break. He's just resting. And I was like, oh, gosh, I hope you know necromancy, because your dove just died. It's like, I felt so bad for that bird.
I know.
It was probably disoriented from, like, being in a bag or whatever.
Yeah. Birds aren't really smart. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was interesting, yeah. I think I read something once about this guy who would do this trick where he would, like, put a dove in, like, a salt shaker. But it was basically, like, he would get these doves that had their, like, bones removed. And I was like, ew. So then he would just, like, shove them inside the salt shaker because they really could bend up really little.
Oh, that sounds gross.
Yeah, it was, like, a long time ago when, you know, before PETA and stuff.
Anyway, so yeah, we sometimes go to Six Flags and they have, like, magic shows there, and I actually participated in one once.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't want to, but the guy just came up to me and chose me, and I was like, okay. I guess he wanted an adult for that ride. I don't know. I mean, for that
trick.
Yeah, because it was about, like, my favorite ride.
Right.
But anyway, it was all right.
Yeah, and Finn he did one too. He made a table levitate.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Finn's so cute. He's He's like very into magic. Not into no, he's not into magic. He's very excited about, like, he gets excited about things.
Yeah.
So when he does, like, a magic trick, like, the way he'll describe, even when he does anything, like, he'll just describe it with such, like, enthusiasm and joy, and it's, like, the cutest.
He's got a good buy-in. He's, like, gets really into whatever was going on in the moment.
Yeah.
Did we have other kids' stories?
No, you just said you were going to talk about, like, kids doing magic tricks? I don't know.
Oh, because they're terrible. It's just so bad. You know, they'll be
like... do you have an example of a time?
They'll be like, I'm going to make this quarter disappear, and then, like, turn around and just ruffle, keep your eyes closed, and just don't look, and then, like, you turn and they're like, voila. And you're like, good one.
It took you a really long time to put that coin in your pocket.
Yeah, like, seriously. I don't know where they put it. Somewhere weird, but...
Or it's so funny really when you see, like, I've never experienced this personally, but, like, kids on YouTube getting really upset when you, like, steal their nose.
Oh, yeah. Or do, like, the broken finger thing, and they're like, oh, my God. And they're, like, traumatized, and you're like, just kidding.
Yeah.
That's cute.
So great to make kids upset.
Yeah, it really is. I just like throwing cheese on their face.
I've never done that. Does it work with dogs? No, she just eat it.
She eats it.
I've never tried it. So then you were going to talk about science.
Science. Yeah, so my philosophy on, like, when people ask me why I got into science or why I like science is I always tell them, well...
'Cause you're a nerd.
Yeah, and, well... Science is the closest thing we have to magic. And I think that's really true.
Nerd.
Because, like we were saying before, like, science fiction-y type stuff, it kind of blends with magic, and, like, science fiction's only fiction until we can make it reality, and then it's just reality. Mm-hmm. Like, think about all the things we have today. Like, a TV, that would seem like magic. A remote control is basically magic. Airplanes, magic.
What was that thing you said about the Facebook AI or whatever?
Oh, like how Facebook had to... Well, they talked about that on Beefy Boys. They had to shut down their AI system because it started communicating in a language, like, amongst itself that the programmers didn't understand. So basically, like, outpacing them. And who knows, plotting world destruction or global domination or...
It's probably not even shut down. They probably just found some other way to do it.
Yeah.
Smart computers.
I know there's, like, a thing that Stephen Hawking said. It was, like, a story about how he thinks that AI would be, like, the death of us. Like, computer Like, iRobot. Takeover. Yeah, and he was like, there's a story about a computer, like, becoming the smartest person in the world, and the computer says, like, I control you, and then they're like, we'll just unplug you, like, we'll always have power over you, and then, like, a lightning bolt strikes the outlet, and he's like, not anymore. And then he's like, forever powerful computer. I was like, yeah, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true, because if... It's interesting. I mean, I wonder if there'll be, like, some futuristic evolved forms of humans. Because, I mean...
They won't be humans, they'll just be computers.
No, but I mean, maybe then there will be an evolved form of humans.
That's like a hybrid.
That, like, or that ends up outsmarting computers, which is probably not really possible.
Probably not, but who knows? It's impossible to say.
But even if that doesn't happen and people just evolve, it could be interesting.
Yeah, but you'd be dead, because once a new evolution comes around, it means your species is extinct.
I'll be watching from heaven.
True, so you'll have a lot to look forward to. Yeah, and then I did, like, a little magic show once for our kids at the Y, a science magic show. I'll give you guys one of my tricks. It's a pretty good one. You take 3 quarters and you put them on the table, and you pick a kid from the audience and you say to them, like, okay, I'm going to leave the room for 1 minute. When I leave the room, I want you to pick up a quarter. And then when I come back, I'm going to know which quarter you picked. And the way I'm going to know is because when you pick it up, you're going to hold it against your forehead with the palm of your hand, squeezing it to your forehead, and channeling all of your psychic energy right into the quarter. And then when I come in, I'll be able to tell which one it is. And then the real way you tell is just because the quarter is quite warm compared to the others. But then, you just do the little show of, like, oh, where is it? And you, like, touch each one, and you're like, ooh, I don't know. And then you, like, find it. And they're like, how'd you know that? So it's, like, a pretty fun trick that you could do on your kids. It's pretty easy.
Yep, pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Yes, we'll be back soon.
This week's podcast is brought to you by the Beefy Boys. Just 3 cool dudes hanging out, talking about sports, video games, music, and whatever else they feel like. Find them at their website, www.beefyboys.com. Also, where you find your other podcasts, iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, you know, all the regulars. The Beefy Boys, the best show on planet Earth.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's a great commercial. Every time I hear it, I just laugh so much. That commercial debuted on an episode of the Beefy Boys Bud Club. Now, as you may be thinking, well, isn't that who's sponsored? Yeah, they just made a commercial of themselves supporting their show. And what I was saying to Jess was, I love how in the middle he's like, and I think, like, you couldn't just record a second take of your commercial where you don't have to clear your throat. They say that our podcast sounds too polished and manufactured, and I'm like, we don't even do.
No, they say it sounds like...
It sounds scripted. Oh, yeah, and it sounds like poop, because we're really artifacted, and if you don't know what artifacted means, when someone tells you it's artifacted, it means this. I'm like, well, guess what? Nobody tells me that, because people aren't jerks. I was like, people just enjoy, okay? And yeah, one day maybe we'll get some professional studio equipment, but right now we're just two cool girls hanging out, talking about whatever, and we don't have money for all those microphones. So one day. But really quickly before we get back into our next topic, when I was downstairs, I thought of another, like, creepy paranormal thing. Mm-hmm. It's not really paranormal so much, but sometimes when I'm here, especially at night, something about this TV, when you, like, turn it off, do you ever see there's, like, some kind of white... Because, you know... So when
we had another little blip in the technical world.
Yeah, so when you turn off the TVs, you know how they go, like, doop, and they make that, like... the light, like, goes into the middle.
Yeah.
So it does, like, that, and then, like, it will have, like, a white image of, like, usually I think whatever was last on screen, but a lot of times it's just, like, a face, and I'm like, oh, and every time I see that, I, like, run upstairs, because I'm like, hell no, the TV's haunted. So, have you ever seen that on this?
Maybe the TV's haunted, that's why the computer messed up.
Very spooky.
I don't think
I mean, if it, like, breaks right now.
Yeah. I'm in control.
Yeah, please. It's like the world's slowest MacBook. I'm like, what are you going to do? Load a webpage for 85 minutes? Don't upset it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't antagonize her.
Oh, yeah. All right, so next
I
on the
forget what
agenda...
I was going to make fun of Joe about. It wasn't about his really stupid commercial. I mean, his lovely commercial.
It was about smell-elevators?
No. Oh, it was about... God, I want to just mention this. Listen to the Beefy Boys. What was this episode called? I think it was this...
Animal Facts?
Yeah, I think it was Animal Facts that he was talking about it. Maybe it was the week before. He talks about streaming services and how there's, like, so many, and that the reason he got rid of cable was to save money. But now he has to subscribe to, like, Hulu and Netflix and Amazon. And he's like, and Disney's coming out with one, and I have to get that. And his friends were just like... And then he's like, well, you know, if I want to watch Marvel movies. And I was like, please, you love Disney. Own it.
Please, when we went to visit Joe the first time in college, his most played song on iTunes was A Whole New World. P.S. Live action Aladdin comes out in a couple weeks, so.
All right.
Yeah, so he loves Disney. Moving
back to supernatural stuff and magic. We were just going to talk about that kind of topic in the media, and so, like, what kind of shows we like with it, books, songs,
right.
Whatever.
So as the listeners know, I've been rewatching Angel, which
is a spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
Angel is her vampire boyfriend.
Yeah, which we talked about how it's, like, creepy, because she's, like, 16 and he's, like, 300 years old, but whatever.
Same as Twilight. It's, like, weird.
Yeah, it's creepy. I'm like, why, at least fall in love with, like, a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Not, like, a 16-year-old. It's, like, really weird. But anyway, so in Angel, like, they're in Los Angeles, right? And there's, like, a lot of baddies in Los Angeles. Lots of vampires, like, all kinds of stuff. But, like, it doesn't really make sense to me, because in the show, they act a lot like, it's not, like, a secret, really. But at the same time, like, in the first, like, 2 seasons, he's friends with, like, a police detective, and they don't, like, know about, like, vampires and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I just feel like, how can you not know when, like, every single night people are getting attacked by vampires, and there's, like, always demons, like, all the time in this city, and then they, like, act like they don't know about vampires and demons.
Because people explain stuff away.
I guess. It just seems stupid to me. Like, there was a whole part where, like, the sun was literally blocked out for, like, weeks, and like vampires and monsters were just roaming the streets.
And like they didn't talk about the fact that it was blacked out?
They're like, this astronomical phenomenon that we don't understand. But it's like, wouldn't you have seen the vampires and things at that point?
I mean, that's pretty stupid. If there's like a point where they're just like all over the place and they're not even like hiding. Because I mean, the whole thing in like typical vampire lore is that, and even in like a stupid vampire novel like Twilight, where they're like sparkly and that's why they have to avoid the sun, which is just idiotic.
Because in the movie, they like didn't even sparkle.
If they had to avoid the sun just because they're sparkly and they could be caught, they would just take over the world. Like, if they're
Or just wear makeup.
Completely immune, like how do they even kill vampires in that?
I think you have to like decapitate or light them on fire.
But I'm like, that's why it's super dumb, because like the whole idea that they can't be in the sun is what makes them like more vulnerable and makes it why they kind of like live at night, and why, and like also typically in vampire fashion during the day they become like dead, where they're like,
well, in
they don't
Angel
have,
he doesn't, but yes,
they don't have like any consciousness.
and also like you like at least in Angel they can't like come in unless they've been invited.
Yeah.
If it's like your permanent residence where you live, so
Yeah.
you could always just be like, I banish you, and then they have to leave because you can rescind their invitation.
Yeah, that's true in like a lot of vampire lore as well. But the point is, like, typically they try to keep it secret.
Right, but like I'm just saying, in Angel, like there's a lot of vampires in Los Angeles, like a lot, and I'm like, I just feel like there's way too many vampires for people not to know about
Isn't
them.
that in that song Free Fallin'?
Yeah, vampires walking in the valley or Reseda
Something
Boulevard.
like that. Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, so then I was like thinking about that and how it's just weird. And then another show that I grew up watching was Charmed, which then made me really think that as a child I was pretty convinced that I had magical powers, or that I was gonna get them at some point. So I would like put a pencil on the table and like just sit and like stare at it and like squint my eyes and like just try to harness my brain power and like make it move like and through telekinesis. Didn't really work. Hasn't happened yet. I'm still holding out hope. I mean, it could manifest later. You never know. But I really, really thought I was like supposed to have magical powers. But
You're the kind of person that discovers her powers when she's like 30.
Yeah.
30
I'll be like
50.
65. Yeah. I'll be like, oh, now I have my powers. But like in Charmed, it's like kind of annoying because, you know, it's like about 3 sisters who then later one dies and then another one comes. So like 3 again. And they basically just fight evil, and at least they explain for them like the reason they live in San Francisco, and the reason like demons and stuff are always coming to them is because their house is like a power nexus, so that like makes sense that there's like a lot more in San Francisco than like in other parts of the world. But they aren't allowed to use any magic for any personal gain at all, and I just don't like, seriously, so what's even the point? Like, they have these powers, but only because they have to use them to fight evil, and they can't even use them for, like, cool stuff that they want to just, like, do on their own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sucks. Like, that's not good at all.
It's true.
So then, in, like, the new show...
so wait, I have a question. In Angel, there's not some reason like that? Because remember in Buffy, it's, like, Sunnydale's, like, the Hellmouth or something, so that's why there's always, like, demons coming there?
Yeah, Sunnydale's the Hellmouth, but I don't know if they say anything about Los Angeles, or at least they haven't said it yet. Who knows?
Could just be because it's such a populous city that the vampires
it's
have
just
a lot
really
of,
big.
like...
And, like, why do so many vampires want to live in sunny Los Angeles? Why don't you live in Alaska or somewhere?
Right.
It's very weird.
Well, because there's less people, so they need their food source.
Well, Angel drinks pig's blood. I don't know.
It's not as tasty.
What
You're not
it
a
is,
vegan.
yeah, it's not as good. You're right. Well, okay, I guess that's what you consider vegan for vampires, is to eat pigs.
Pretty much.
Okay, all right. Anyway, it's not like they're drinking like tree sap. That'd be pretty vegan.
It's vampire vegan, okay?
So then in the show Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the new Netflix show, I was like, okay, this is like a more, I feel, realistic. Because even like in the old Sabrina show, same. Like if she used her magic like for herself.
Like a bajillion things went wrong and she was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it. And even sometimes it was like for helping a friend or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, well, what's the point of like having powers if you can't even use them for anything? Like, cool. You know? Or like,
But I feel
to
like,
help
isn't it
you.
also kind of BS? Because in the original Sabrina, didn't they sometimes use the powers at home? Or
I think
no?
they did.
Because I know in the new one, they're always doing stuff with magic around the house.
Yeah, which just makes sense to me.
It's kind of like Harry
'cause I
Potter
even
in a
remember,
sense
like-
when they're like, the mom cooks, but she's just like using all her like,
I remember
magic
in
wand
like
to cook everything.
in one episode of Charmed, I think it's like the first episode or something, like Prue like closes the door with like her magic powers, and I'm like, you're gonna get a consequence. Like that's how like little they could use their power, just like close the door with your telekinesis. It's,
Yeah.
like, She didn't get one for that, but, like, I really thought she was going to, because I'm like, that's how serious they are about it sometimes. Like, the smallest thing, and they, like, do this. But in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, they just, like, use their magic for whatever they want.
Maybe that was, like, a continuity blip in the Charmed.
Maybe. I should write to them. I know it's been 20 years since your show came out. But yeah, but in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, it's interesting, too, because they, like, basically...
I think you can just call it Sabrina.
In Sabrina, they, like... worship, or they, like, it's interesting because they, like,
they worship
the devil, but she's not really into the devil, and she's basically like, I like worship the devil and I belong to, like, the Church of Night, but I'm not evil.
Well, because she originally doesn't want to sign, but then she, like, gets tricked into signing to, like, save her friends.
Right.
And I haven't watched the new episodes, so
I've only watched some of the new season, but, like, she's not really evil, because I'm like, yeah, just because you, like, obviously, like, there's people who believe in God who aren't good people.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
like, there can be people who believe in the devil and aren't bad people.
Which probably that's, like, what that show is supposed to be talking about, is some sort of, like, there's more nuanced beliefs than just, like, good and evil, or, like, there's no such thing. It's, like, kind of with the Game of Thrones. Like, there's no such thing as just, like, a good person or a bad person. Like,
right.
Everyone has a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And, like, some people more than others.
But, yeah, they, like,
but, I mean, she kind
magic.
of, like, some of their traditions that are, like, pretty... barbaric, she kind of, like, tries to fight against them.
Yeah, the more archaic one, she's like, no, why are we gonna, like, eat someone's heart, or, like, whatever.
Eat one of the witches.
Yeah, and they're like, why do we have to do that? So,
yeah.
But that's interesting. I feel like that's, like, I don't know, a pretty good portrayal of what I feel like magic would be like if it were in the real world.
We didn't really put it, like, another show would be, like, Supernatural, obviously.
Yeah, well, we talked about that one's too scary for us. So.
Yeah, and I might watch it someday. But how many seasons are there now? Like 12, 13
17 seasons.
Yeah, so many
it's
seasons.
It's, like, really long, yeah. Really, really long show.
Which is interesting. I wonder if it's good. Because I feel like, for me, I'm kind of, like a show snob, and I don't really watch network TV, because I find it to usually be, like, garbage.
Yeah, that sounds really snobby. I watch some network TV.
Like, I can usually watch, like, a season or half a season, and then it just goes downhill, and I'm like, this show is awful. Why, like, don't watch it?
Yeah.
Although, I don't care if you watch it. I'm just gonna think that you have really bad taste in shows.
I just won't really think about it either way, because I just don't care what kind of TV you watch.
I was talking with someone about The Princess Bride, or, no, like, Suicide Squad, and...
So bad.
His face. And I said, and I was like, he said, I don't know if I want to tell you my opinion on it. And I was like, it's okay. You can tell me your opinion. It's just that if you liked it, I'm going to think I will have no respect for your taste in movies. And he was like, damn. And I was like, it's a horrible movie. Like, it's objectively horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's like the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I feel like I have to watch it again because I was, like, doing a term paper when I watched it. And I remember just being like, this is so bad. But I'm like, maybe because I wasn't, like, half paying attention to it.
No,
but...
it's really bad.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so then that's fine. Yeah, I was writing a term paper on the emplacement of Canada Hill granite in the Hudson Valley. It's very, very enthralling.
Nice. So, there's obviously a bunch of shows and movies.
There's a ton of shows and movies
like,
about magic. Like, practical magic, I always
and then
like
they have,
that.
like, all this, like, ID, like...
like
are
the
they
haunting?
on ID?
Yeah, that's a channel, Investigation Discovery. Yeah, they have, like, all the haunting shows, and some of them are, like, really dumb. They're like, oh, this up. It's kind of like, did you ever see the show I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant?
No.
So, like, it's just what it is. Like, I didn't know I was pregnant. And, like, a lot of them are, like, they have no symptoms at all. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I thought I had appendicitis. And they're like, you're having twins. And, like, they came right then. But then the one lady, she's like, oh, well, I stopped getting my period. And then, like, I had, like, a leaky substance coming out of my breast. And I'm like, how did you not know you were pregnant? Like, I get it. You don't think you were because the doctors, like, said you couldn't be or whatever. But I'm like, don't you think, like, when you're, like, lactating, you would probably look into that at least.
Leaky
like
substance.
Yeah, they're like, there's like a clear white substance coming from my breasts, and I was like, milk? Like, it was really dumb. I was like, yeah, this is really bizarre. But yeah, so some of them with the haunting shows, I feel like some are like that, where they're like, some of them are like, oh, it like grabbed my daughter by the hair and like pulled her across the room, and then some are like, one time my leg got cold at nighttime, and I'm like, okay, so a draft, but. Sometimes they're good. You just gotta find the good ones.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The other day, actually woke up and I was kind of by the edge of the bed. I move around in the bed a lot, and I'm in a king right now. And I, like, kind of stretched, and then my hand landed, and it was, like, kind of hanging off the bed, and then the dog was around, and I was like, never mind. I was like, even if it is a dog, I don't want it licking my hand, because it could be a person.
I actually had a dream the other day that my husband's head exploded.
Oh my god!
Yeah. We were like, it was weird.
What if he has an aneurysm?
No, well, it's possible, but it literally, his whole entire head exploded.
Yeah, but
like,
your dreams.
I know. It exploded. And we were laying in bed, and we were, like, about to lay down onto the pillows. You know how, like, in TV commercials, and they're like, oh, and they, like, fall into their pillows? We were, like, laying into the pillow, and then, like...
Post-coital?
No.
Oh.
Just bedtime.
Okay.
And his head just exploded. And, like, it was, like, brain matter up on the wall and, like, on my face. And I woke up, like, I woke up so scared. And then I'm, like, looking over at him, like, to make sure his head is still attached, which it was, like, obviously. He's just sleeping. Because I was like, maybe he's, like, sick. And that's, like, maybe it was, like, something, like, maybe he stopped breathing. And that's why I got scared. And then But then I, like, was super on edge, and I couldn't fall asleep for, like, an hour, because I was like, what the heck? It was so creepy. So that was, like, very traumatic. And then I texted it to him, and I was like, oh, I had a dream, like, your head exploded, and blah, blah, blah. And then he said that the car, like, read the text out, and he was like, oh, the car read that text, and Finn was laughing his butt off. And I was like, it was really traumatic. So.
Well, Finn's head kind of exploded.
Well, yeah. I mean, he kind of smashed it into a counter, if that counts. But, you know, kids will be kids. I mean, yeah, it was unintentional that he hit the counter, but he was intentionally swinging his head around.
Yeah. He basically was headbanging, and
he was, like, trying to whip a towel off his head and just smash his face into a counter and split his lip.
Oh, poor guy.
But he survived.
Yeah.
He's tough. He's a tough cookie.
I just remembered another dream that you had.
Did it come true?
The one about me in the kayak.
I had a dream about you in a kayak. Oh, when that thing ate you?
The orca.
Yeah. Because I had a dream that a killer whale ate Jess. You weren't in a kayak. You were in, like, a raft.
Oh, okay.
It was sort of like an inner tube, but it was like an inflatable chair, sort of.
Oh, okay.
And I remember she was, like, paddling.
You were in a kayak? Oh.
No. She
So
was,
I had a battle, though?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you were, like, paddling, and then this whale just comes up behind you, and it was huge, and it just opens its mouth, and your whole, like, body went in at once. Like, it just went all around you, and it swallowed you up. And then I remember I was like, oh my god, we have to save her. And I, like, went out there, and I was, like, stabbing the orca in the eye, like, with my paddle, trying to, like, make him spit you out, and he, like, wouldn't. And then, like, in the next, like, scene of the dream, it was like you fell from a height into, like, a big vat of water. So I couldn't actually see the edges or the bottom. It was just, like, a huge water body. And I just saw you, like, sinking into the water. And I, like, couldn't get you. Mm. So I did try to save you.
So creepy.
But, you know, I was like, wow, I'm so proud that I was brave enough to go after the killer whale and try to save you. Instead of just being like...
The version of you was brave enough.
Yeah, I would have just swam away. Sorry. Love you, but...
Yeah, we're going out to an island off the coast of Seattle, part of the San Juan Islands, called Orcas Island.
Yeah.
So, for our brother's wedding next summer. So I was like, okay, remind me not to, like, do any kind of...
If I see, like, a yellow,
activity.
like, raft that looks like what I saw in my dream, I'll be like, don't get in it.
Oh my gosh.
That's,
I
like,
would be so scared.
Yeah, I know what it looks like, so I'll be able to tell you.
So creepy.
Yeah,
okay, and then there's some books. We already talked about this in episode 1, the book Blood and Chocolate. If you haven't checked it out...
I think it was in episode 1. It was, like, in episode 4 or 5, big books.
Oh, it was... Okay. I thought it was in episode 1 if you were talking about, like, movies. No, we didn't know it was a movie. Okay,
yeah.
It was in episode 4.
Or no,
3.
5. Whatever. Whatever, big books.
Episode 5. It was, I believe, 4 or 5. Anyway.
Okay. So, yeah, Blood and Chocolate.
I like big books and I cannot lie. That episode about books. Blood and Chocolate. It's about a horny werewolf and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, it's honestly, like,
it's
not a
pretty
great
bad.
book, but it's easy to read and it's, like, fun.
Yeah, if you're looking
I wanna
for
reread
a fun teenage romance werewolf novel, that's
Yep.
your choice, is that.
Yeah. And then obviously, like, Stephen King writes, like, supernatural.
Yeah, spooky.
Not always. I mean, sometimes they're just, like...
Murders.
Yeah.
No, I think they're mostly supernatural.
Well, what about, like, Shawshank Redemption? Didn't he write The Green Mile?
Oh, yeah, true.
Well, there's
true.
a little bit of
But
supernatural
those aren't really
stuff in that,
horror,
too.
I would say. Those are, like, more drama.
Yeah. I've said he doesn't always write supernatural stuff.
I thought you meant he doesn't, like, always...
I didn't say he doesn't always write horror.
That's what you should have said, as I'm saying. Because if you say he doesn't always write supernatural stuff, that could mean he just, like, writes about serial killers.
Okay.
But he really just doesn't always write about horror.
Bing. Anyway. And then Renee reminded me of a book called The Girl's Guide to Witchcraft, which is...
Pretty cute.
It's basically
It's basically about
It's
this
like
librarian.
an adult book. Yeah.
And she, like, finds some book. She finds out she's
finds
a
out
witch.
that she's like, she's like, her ancestors were witches, and she's a witch, and then she finds like a book of magic spells, and she
gets a familiar and starts doing witchy stuff.
She awakens her familiar under a full moon, so he can like leave her presence, which is fun.
Yeah.
And then obviously Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Ooh, Harry Potter. I don't think we need to talk too much about Harry Potter, because if we ever want to do an episode, we could. But the only thing I'm going to say about Harry Potter is that when Tim and I went on our first vacation together, it was a cruise, and there was Harry Potter trivia, and I was like, oh, we could go. Like, we know Harry Potter. We do not know Harry Potter. That Harry Potter trivia was so hard, and there were, like, 10-year-olds who were smoking us, and I was like, I feel really stupid right now. So,
well, first of all, did
Harry
Tim
Potter
even read
fans
the
are
books?
Crazy. I think he did, yeah. He read some of them.
Shout out to our aunt who, our cousin said that she read 5 Feet Apart, and her mom was like, read or listened to?
She said that?
And she was like, no, I read it. I didn't even get it on Audible. And her mom's like, oh, all right.
That's funny. Because did she just listen to our episode about that?
I don't know if our aunt listened to it. Our cousin is an avid listener.
That's what I meant. Like, how did that movie come up?
Oh, I mean, no. I think she has listened to all the episodes, or at least most of them. But I think she was just mentioning it because she knows we had mentioned it.
Oh, okay. So you're just talking about movies?
Yeah. I think she just finished the book, so that's why she told
so
me.
she was
Because
just
she was
saying,
like, I know you guys talked about it. I just read the book. I didn't see the movie yet.
Yeah.
I think.
I was in the bathroom.
Oh, right. Anyway.
All right.
So maybe we'll do an episode on Harry Potter.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I'm not like a super huge Harry Potter fan.
I know.
It's okay.
I know your feelings, Jess.
I do wish it was owned by Disney, though, because I feel like Disney World would have done a better job with Harry Potter World.
Yeah, but it's still good. It's still
okay.
Fun. It's still fun.
And then there's some songs. So Renee started singing this camp song. I don't know if it's really a camp song. We heard it at camp.
I think it's a camp song.
About magic.
I've never found, like, a confirmed author for it.
We could post the lyrics or something, or maybe, like, a YouTube link to someone singing it. It's, like, a cute song. It's, like...
Yeah, it's about magic.
Talks about magic.
And how it changes as you grow up. And it goes from, like, being leprechauns and, you know... Then it just becomes, like...
Like the kids like, see. I don't believe in magic. People told me I was too old for magic. And
right,
then
it's like, no, actually there's magic every day.
Like the smile of a friend or a rainbow after rain.
The courage to stand tall. And love
I do believe in magic after all.
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Then there's some like fun songs like what song was it? I forget what this was even for, but it was like late last night.
When we were all in bed.
No. No, it's like late last night I had beheld an eerie sight or something like that.
Is that Monster Mash?
Yeah. So it was really funny because I gotta look up like the exact words of it because basically like this was a trivia question and I forget like what it was about. Like I don't know if it was like scary songs, if it was just songs. Like, why this one was...
Maybe it was, like, songs with, like, alliterations. Because it's, like, Monster Mash. So maybe it was, like...
No, it wasn't that... Yeah, it was... I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Yeah. So the trivia host read it like that. And we all knew immediately what it was. And then our friend's husband was like, what is that one? And then my roommate goes up to him and he's like, I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Or said it in like that way. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard when you speak. It, like,
so monotone.
Yeah, when you speak song lyrics, you're always like, what?
But that one I feel like was really obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
But whatever. Anyway. Oh, so then there's another song that's about scary werewolves. Werewolves in London. It's actually kind of creepy, though. The one verse talks about them, like, tearing the flesh off of a person or something.
Yeah, typical werewolf things.
Renee has a good story about this song.
So, when I was in college, I was dating this guy, and it was, like, the time that Kid Rock song, All Summer Long, like, came out, or had recently come out. And we were, like, eating one day in the cafeteria, like, me and my friends at college, and I heard that song started playing. I was like, oh, yeah, this is, like, Steve's favorite song. He likes the song a lot. And then, like, we were, like, all just chatting and stuff. And then, like, about a minute later into the song, I realized it wasn't All Summer Long by Kid Rock. It was Werewolves of London. And I was like, and then, like, my other roommate kind of caught my eye, and I was like, yeah, this, like, isn't the song. And then she's like, I was going to say, this is his favorite song. And we were cracking up. And it was like, I always remembered as like the time when I was away at college that I had like my first good belly laugh, because it was like everyone was kind of like thinking it and no one was like saying anything. And then I was like, oh, this is the song that I thought it was. And we were just cracking up. So now I'm like really convinced that Werewolves of London and All Summer Long by Kid Rock sound really similar. And I tried to tell my husband, he's like, they're so nothing alike. And then he like played them for me and I'm like, okay, they're not exactly the same, but they're definitely similar. So I stand by my statement and you can listen to them if you want and then judge for yourself.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, it was pretty classic. Anyway, so moving on to our movie this week.
Yep. So what's popping at the movies?
Pop, 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 pop. This time we saw Shazam, which I really liked.
Yes.
Want me to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. You said you had some things to say about this movie.
Oh, I just meant like I liked it. Oh. So like this movie,
I'll tell you on the podcast. I was like, all right.
Oh, I don't remember what I was gonna say then. But I like this movie because it was like an original. I think was it a book? No, this is just an original storyline. I never heard of this story before, and I thought it was good. And like,
well, it was part of DC, so it might have been a comic. Or something that was already made.
Oh, probably. But anyway, I thought it was really cute. Like, it's meant to be kind of cheesy, so, like, it definitely, like, was kind of cheesy, but, like, I thought they pulled it off really well, and it was cute. Basically, what happens is this boy is, like, a foster child.
Billy or Freddie?
Billy. And he...
Played by Asher Angel.
Asher? Or Osher? Or Otter?
I don't know. Asher?
Maybe Asher. I've heard both. So, anyway, he... he's a foster kid. He's like runs away a lot because he's trying to find his mom. So he keeps running away from different foster homes. And then he gets taken into this group home. And basically he somehow inherits this powers from this wizard because the wizard's like, you're pure of heart, so I'm going to give you my powers.
No, he basically was like, I don't have any time left. You'll have to do it.
Yeah, because the wizard had been searching for a long time to give up his powers because he knew he was going to die soon. And he's supposed to guard like the 7 deadly sins from escaping and like wreaking havoc on the world. But he couldn't find anyone truly pure of heart who could resist temptation. So then he, like, brought Billy there, and he's like, okay, close enough. You're going to have to do it. So then Billy becomes Shazam, a superhero who has, like, lightning speed and, like, electrical control. Like, he can control electricity. He can fly. He's, like, bulletproof on his suit and his face, too, because they test. And he's just got all kinds of powers. But he's still, like, a 14-year-old kid. But when he, like, transforms into Shazam, he looks like a 30-year-old man.
And
like,
he's
super
played
jacked.
by Zachary Levi or Levi.
Zachary Levi?
Levi, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, you know, an adult man, but like in a teenage boy body. So then like, or vice versa, a teenage boy in an adult man body. So then like at one part he like goes and he's like, oh, we're gonna like buy beer. And they like go get beer and they like take a sip and they're both like, bleh, like spit it out. They're like, it's so gross. And then they like go back in and buy like Doritos and Red Bull. And I was like, oh, that's cute. It's pretty funny.
And I mean, I think the whole the point is that, like, the Shazam guy, the wizard, is looking for a person pure of heart. And then the one guy who gets rejected, he
becomes obsessed with, like, finding the power.
And then he basically, like, gets the power from the 7 deadly sins to, like, basically become the, like, super villain. And then the thing is, the Billy kid isn't pure of heart because he then, like, basically just becomes like a celebrity, like uses it to like get money from people, like he'll take pictures of people and get money,
like,
and he doesn't really do any like superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, oh, I saved that bus, and then his friend's like, yeah, the bus that you like electrocuted by doing your laser fingers or your electricity fingers.
And then almost made
and
them
like
all die.
derail, or like it was a train or whatever. Like you're the one who like broke it, so it's not really impressive that you caught it. But yeah, it was like interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I mean, it was super campy, but it was like I think designed to be that way.
Yeah, and some of like the monsters were scary.
They were scary. There were like a lot of really funny jokes.
And I didn't expect there to be like there's people die in the movie. Like I didn't expect them to actually die. I thought it would just be like, we're gonna attack you, but like some people die. And
then another funny thing was at the end, there's other like superheroes or that like other people get transformed, and one of them is Adam Brody, which
Yeah.
is like weird.
Which is so funny because while we were watching this show, because it's the same thing, like the kids transform into humans when they're superheroes, and we're like watching the movie, and I'm thinking like, oh, this.
Well, they're
kid...
humans. They transform into like adults.
Oh yeah, transform into
Yeah.
adults. So I'm like watching it, I'm like, oh, that kid kind of looks like Seth. That's his name, right? On the
Yeah.
OC, I'm like, he kind of looks like Seth from the OC, and then like that's who played his adult version, and I was like, oh, I guess a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny.
That's
But I thought that was good. I said like 1.5 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Maybe just like a good time, funny. It didn't get super great reviews, but I don't trust reviews, so now you have the best review, mine. Pretty good. Worth
I'd
a
probably
look.
give it the same. I don't think I'd give it a 2 thumbs up, but I would definitely thought it was good.
Yeah, I wouldn't probably give it 2 because I feel like that's reserved for like, you know, really high quality, just overall good movies, and this is sort of like a feel good movie, so like, not quite to
Yeah.
the same standard, but still pretty good. Definitely, I think worth a look.
Very good. All right, I think that's pretty much. Do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. Ew, why'd you burp? Who
I
are
wanted
you?
to
The
pull a
Beefy
Beefy
Boys?
Boys move.
Let me try. Oh, derp.
We won't say their other catchphrases because they're just.
That's my
nasty.
final. Yeah, ugh, gross. That's my final thought. Oh, derp.
My milky make yogurt. My poopy.
Ew. That's gross. What are you talking about?
It was like that lady who didn't know I was pregnant. She's like, weird milk was coming out of my breast.
Yeah, but not yogurt.
Okay, milkshakes. Anyway.
All right, so on that note, also, we're going to be wrapping up season 1 probably in a few episodes, so
Yeah.
you might be missing your feet for a while, but you'll find them again.
Good one, Bird. All right, so you can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter at Deerfoot Sisters. Our website is deerfootsisters.com. Our Facebook is facebook.com/deerfeetpodcast. And you can email us at deerfootsisters@gmail.com. Also, we're going to be putting a commercial on the Beefy Boys, so go ahead and check it out. They very conveniently tell you what time everything is on, so you can just click right forward to the time where our commercial plays, if you want.
Because, like, if you already listen to the show, you just, usually people, like, listen to commercials to, like, steer them to shows. They don't, like, listen to
I know,
your
but
show.
I wanted them to hear our commercial, and I don't want to play it on our
commercial.
show.
Okay, so, yeah, check out our commercial to air at some point later on the Beefy Boys Bud Club.
And check out our website.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
We're the Deerfoot Sisters. And we're prancing away.